cities in the country. My point is that's part of the point. Because there are communities. And by the way, in our biggest cities, there are neighborhoods, just as there are whole towns across America that have felt left out of all of the processes that are getting attention in Washington. We need a different kind of voice, and then we got to bring that voice to Washington. Look, this was not what I guessed I would be doing at the end of my second term as mayor when I first ran. I ran in order to help fix what was going on in my city. But right now, I see a country, I see a White House that needs not just good policies, but it needs the instincts of a mayor who knows that you are a walking symbol. You're a walking symbol when you're a mayor of the unity of your community. You remind people so different from each other, they have nothing in common besides the same community that they live in. You remind them that they at least share that much. And at a time when we need that, when we need somebody to call our country to its highest values, frankly, I think we just need a president who you could look at and feel your blood pressure go down a little bit instead of up to the roof. I began to realize that I had something to offer. And then once I made sure Chasten and I were on the same page, and we made that decision together, we realized that the only way to know for sure if we were on the right track was to put it to the voters. And it was a wild thing to do. When we started this thing, I had 4 people on our committee staff. I'm not a millionaire, no personal fortune to kick in, no name recognition, no big email list. But the amazing thing about American democracy is you get a shot. One high school gym and backyard and diner and coffee shop at a time, you get a shot to look eye to eye with voters and make the case and ask them for their support. And so, against all odds, I'm standing before you with a long way to go, humbly asking for your vote, but also walking into this building with the lead in Democratic delegates for the nomination.
In Norwegian.
Is there an actual Norwegian speaker here? There's probably one. Is it ut med ham nu, maybe? Ut med ham? Ut med ham? Huh? Brief. Hopefully I didn't say something dirty. That's a little past my knowledge of Norwegian. One more time? I believe quit. Yeah. All right. I learned something new today. Tack ska ni ha. Isn't it amazing when you get a room full of 1,000 people in America? There is somebody who knows a lot about everything.
Pete, if the Democrats don't control both houses of Congress, how will you work with the GOP to accomplish your agenda?
It's an important question. So, here's the good news. First of all, my first instinct is to reach across the aisle. Again, mayors have to do that, especially Democratic mayors in places like Indiana, have to do that in order to get anything done. So, that's where we'll start. And I went through 3 Republican governors, and we found ways to work together on different things. But for that to work, there has to be good faith. And we know that good faith is in short supply, especially in the Senate and House GOP today. So if that's not working, I have another plan. And the plan involves the big blue and white airplane that comes with the Oval Office that the president uses mostly for the purpose of traveling among golf courses with his name on it. I don't even golf. But what I will do is take advantage of the fact that the things we're talking about, they aren't just my idea or Democratic Party ideas. These are things that most Americans want, even in conservative states. The increase in the minimum wage that they are blocking, a real paid family leave policy, doing something about gun violence, acting on climate, delivering health care for every American. This is something that's not just popular in a deep blue, far-left district. This is what the American people want, even in the red states. And so, the best use of that airplane, if you ask me, is to fly it right into the backyard of a member of the congressional GOP who is not only defying my White House, but defying their own voters, and have that conversation with the voters. Of course, that's plan B. Plan A is to have enough coattails that we're not dealing with a Republican majority in Congress.
As president, how would you depolarize America and restore decency to the American conversation?
Well, that just might be the most important part of the job. Again, when you're a mayor, there comes that point, right, where you realize that it's not just about the policies, it's not just about the management, it's about what tone you set for your community. So much more so for the presidency. And it's not about ignoring our differences. It's not about watering down our values or pretending we'll agree on everything. It's sending that message that when we, especially when we disagree, we got to do it in good faith, and we got to do it as one country that has a common faith. It's something I learned in the military. You know, when somebody got in my vehicle and we were getting ready to go outside the wire, they didn't care if I was going home to a girlfriend or a boyfriend. They didn't care if I was a Democrat or a Republican. We were totally different from each other, but we knew to trust each other with our lives, because we had to. And our whole country is in that same situation. And so I will work every day to invite the American people to remember what we do have in common. That we share basic values about what kind of country this ought to be, and about how we ought to treat each other. And frankly, the best way for me to answer that question is not to tell you in words, but to try to show it in the way our campaign is run. And you're all part of that too. I see volunteers here, organizers, modeling our values. Reaching out to one another, to folks who may not agree with us on everything. But we're still glad you're here. Reaching out within our party. I don't believe in the politics of clubbing people over the head and telling them they're wrong until they give up. I believe in the politics of inviting as many people as possible into this conversation. We can show, not tell, how to do that in the course of this campaign, and you're already doing it by the spirit you bring into this room, and I thank you for it, because that is how it begins before the first votes are even counted.
Hey, what is your stance on immigration issues?
So, first of all, I'm here because of immigration. My father decided that he would leave his home country, this tiny country called Malta. It's about the size of St. Joseph County, Indiana. And he left because he wanted to get a great education. And he had a mentor who told him, you know, if you stay here, I promise you, you could be a very big fish in a very small pond. And he said, I'd rather be a medium-sized fish in the biggest pond of all. And that's more or less what happened. He got his education, became an American citizen, became a professor, found himself somebody from a place where they don't even have a word for snow, wound up in South Bend, Indiana in the lake effect zone, downwind from Chicago. And that's why my family is here. And I have seen my city, which was, again, described as dying just a decade ago, losing thousands of people after the factories closed, now growing. And a big part of why we're growing is immigration, especially a Latino community that has breathed new life into neighborhoods that we're emptying out. That is part of the lifeblood of our city and of our country. And the important thing to recognize is it is not taking something away from one of us to welcome another one of us. It is about addition, it is about multiplication. Immigrants are taxpayers. Immigrants are doctors. Immigrants are neighbors and family members, and we have a responsibility to fix a system that frankly requires more here as workers than it is willing to admit as citizens. The president says we're full. We're not full. We are ready to grow as a country in the way that we always have at our best moments. And yes, that means making sure that we have a process. But we got to make sure the process is fixed. And right now the process is broken. We will have full, real, comprehensive immigration reform when I am president. And in the meantime, at the border, while we're figuring out the laws, one thing you will never see under my administration is a for-profit facility for the detention of children. One more big thank you to Mayor Chris Bowman for being your voice. Us mayors like to call him the mayor from the future because he's always a couple of steps ahead. And I'm so glad to have been able to share this time with you. And again, if you're a supporter, I'm so thankful, and I'm urging you to reach out to everybody that you know. If you're still thinking it over, hopefully now I've had one more chance to ask for your vote, and you understand what I believe is at stake in this election. And the only other thing I have to ask of you is to bottle up whatever sense of hope propelled you into this room and share it with anybody in your life who is so exhausted and so dispirited and so depressed by the news that they might have walked away completely from the process. Which is how, if we walk away, that's how the cynics win. This is our chance. The power is in our hands. And I believe there must be some hope that brought you into this room. I know why the word hope went out of style for a little while in our politics, because of the division and the bleakness and the meanness of the moment that we're in. But I believe that running for office is an act of hope. That's why they took the word hopeful. You notice this in the news? They took the word hopeful and they turned it into a noun and they use it as another word for candidate. I'm a 2020 hopeful. That's what I'm doing here. Because running is an act of hope. And you are here as an expression of hope.